Folks, what was it that I said a couple weeks ago about Omar Khan coming into this draft? He needs to nail it, and he most certainly did. I've been a Steeler fan since 2002, okay? I know I'm young. A lot of you people watching this video have been Steeler fans for 30, 40, even 50 or 60 years, and that's fine. But for me, I've been a fan for 21 years now, and I have to say, this is probably the best draft I've ever seen the Steelers have. And I even think it's better than the 04 draft that we had. This is Steel Sermon in the house Saturday night with another video. As always, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Instagram, link in the description below. Omar Khan is a freaking wizard. Omar Khan absolutely hit the nail on the head with this draft and then some. We knew how important this offseason was for Omar Khan, seeing that this is his first full offseason being GM of the Steelers. And he got off to a really good start with it, with free agency and the offseason before the draft, with bringing in Allen Robinson, a veteran at wide receiver, bolstering up the offensive line with Nate Herbig and Isaac Seumalo. So the offensive line, the picket fence, as we call it over here, has been beefed up. We bring in Patrick Peterson, a great veteran corner, to help out with the corners already. I mean, Omar Khan just making all these moves with the extensions, still making sure, I should say, that we're not exceeding the cap and that we're not overspending and overpaying. I mean, just a phenomenal job this guy has done. And so, when it comes time for the draft, this is going to be a very big statement for Omar Khan and where this franchise is going to be in the long-term future, depending on how long Omar Khan stays as GM. And with this weekend, I think we have a very good indicator of where we are going to be as far as the draft goes. Let's go over these 7 new Pittsburgh Steelers that Omar Khan has drafted. And honestly, I don't see a dud among them. I really don't. But I'm going to go over these draft picks. Starting with the 14th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Broderick Jones, offensive tackle out of Georgia. Now, like I said the other night, this is the 14th overall pick. We were originally going to be the 17th pick, but we traded up with the Patriots, and right off the bat, you get a sense of what Omar Khan is going to be when it comes to the draft. The aggression, slapping the table. The Steelers might want to change their name from Steelers to Stalers, the Steelers, because we stole the New York Jets tackle that they wanted. And then Bill Belichick just completely panics and takes defense. We may not have beaten those two teams on the field last year, but man, did we beat them with the front office right here. Amazing move by Omar Khan right there. And it's especially good because with Kenny Pickett's rookie contract, that's our best chance to take advantage and compete. Because, everyone's the talk of the town with Kenny Pickett is, are we going to be able to give Kenny Pickett a 5th-year option? Is he going to be able to take that next step forward? Is he going to be able to cut down on the picks? Is he going to be protected well enough? All these questions about Kenny Pickett. And I think with this pick right here with Broderick Jones, I think that is going to answer a whole lot of questions. More answers than questions with this pick right here with Broderick Jones with one simple move by Omar Khan. He is our next left tackle, and I know that he really didn't start a whole lot in Georgia, but when they needed him for the final moments with Georgia, man, did he step up. You know, back-to-back national championships down there. He didn't allow a single sack when he was called to the plate. This guy is going to be able to block Kenny's blind side. And on top of that, as I said the other day, just a really good run stopper as well. So with protecting our freaking quarterback right here, who had 2 concussions this past season, mind you, he's now going to be even more protected. With also pairing with Isaac Seumalo, who is a very underrated pass blocker as well. I think Kenny Pickett is going to be very safe under center this year, or at least a lot more safe than last year. This guy just has a bully mentality. It's, I'm not going to allow my damn quarterback to get hurt. Instead, I'm going to hurt you. When he gets a hold of somebody, man, does that guy feel the heat. I love this pick. Broderick Jones, amazing pick by Omar Khan. Amazing transaction by Omar Khan. Amazing aggression. Everything about this first round pick that we had is incredible. Great move by Omar Khan. What a way to start the draft. Now, moving on to day 2, which was yesterday. We had the first pick of the second day of the draft. And with the 32nd pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Joey Porter Jr., cornerback out of Penn State. Now, again, I must stress, I kind of knew we were going to get him. The Steelers, they are suckers for, family members being on the same team. And, it was a little bit of a similar situation 6 years ago when we drafted T.J. Watt. Everyone was like, oh, well, we only took T.J. Watt because he's J.J.'s little brother. Well, I can tell you right now, nobody sees T.J. Watt as J.J.'s brother anymore. As a matter of fact, everyone now sees J.J. as T.J.'s brother. That is how dominant T.J. Watt has been. But anyway, as I was looking at the pick yesterday, I saw that, there was a lot of time spent on the phone and the clock was kind of dwindling down. I'm like, you know what? I expect us to take Joey Porter. I wouldn't mind Branch either, but I just know that we're going to take Joey Porter. But then I just see the clock continuing to dwindle down, and I'm like, we can't be making a trade, can we? But the thing is, if we made a trade, it had to have been an absolute blockbuster trade and an absolute bargain that we could not refuse. And that wasn't the case at all. As a matter of fact, Joey Porter Jr. was already on his way to Pittsburgh before we even made the pick. That's how we knew he was already a Steeler. That is incredible. And we know the story with him. He's Joey Porter's son. Joey Porter, longtime fan favorite in Pittsburgh. He was the all-time sack leader for the team up until 2016 when James Harrison broke it. But a similar situation, I don't want people to say, well, we only drafted Joey Porter Jr. because he's Joey Porter's son. And kind of like with TJ Watt, I don't want people, to think of him that way. I want him to go out there and make a name for himself, make a legacy for himself, establish himself as the lockdown corner that he's projected to be. He didn't allow a single touchdown all year last year, I believe. And I know he kind of got bullied in the first game against Purdue last year, and I know I'm going to get to Purdue in a little bit in this video, trust me. He got bullied a little bit, by a wide receiver the Bengals took from Purdue. I don't remember his name right now, but he allowed 12 receptions, 150 yards. But ever since and Joey Porter was targeted 14 times in that game. But after that, he was only targeted 16 times total. That is how good this guy is, because they all know, hey, don't throw it to number 9. Number 9 can make a play on it. And now the whole family tree has come full circle. You guys ever see the original Star Wars, A New Hope? Remember when Darth Vader and Obi-Wan are dueling each other in the Death Star, and Darth Vader says to Obi-Wan, "The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but to learn. Now I am the master." That's kind of like what I feel here. The circle is now complete. When Kevin Colbert drafted Joey Porter Sr., Omar Khan was an assistant for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now Omar Khan is the GM, and he drafts Joey Porter's son to the franchise. The circle is now complete. When I drafted your father, I was but to learn. Now I am the master, says Omar Khan to Joey Porter Jr. I love this pick. Great value, too. Everyone thought we were going to take Peasy Jr. at 17. But he falls into our lap at 32. That's great value right there. Everyone thought that he was going to be gone after the first round. He was going to be like a late first rounder. That is really good value to get him at 32. So, a little bit of a PS for this. Chicago Bears, thank you, come again. Because this is the guy that we get in the Chase Claypool trade. Thank you, Chicago. Just like how I keep saying thank you to Miami for Minkah Fitzpatrick. So yeah, Peasy Jr. is a Pittsburgh Steeler. I cannot wait to see this guy play. He has a ton of potential on the horizon. Then, with the 49th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Keeanu Benton, defensive lineman out of Wisconsin. This right here is probably my favorite pick. Yes, I am putting it above Broderick Jones. I freaking love this pick, man. You know who this guy reminds me of the more I see his highlights? You guys remember Casey Hampton, our first-round pick back in 2001? He was Kevin Colbert's first-round draft pick back in 2001. That's who this guy reminds me of. Just a big, mean punisher, a big bully that's going to be playing nose tackle, a guy who has all the potential to be a three-down nose tackle. I don't think he's going to be there exclusively, but with his size and his motor, his strength, Terrell Austin literally has no reason to not start him at nose, and he can transition him over to possibly being, more in like the defensive tackle, and like I said, three-down guy potential. I think he is here to replace Tyson Alualu, and honestly, this guy could be another Javon Hargrave for us. Knock on wood, hopefully we don't trade him away, but I feel like that's what he was brought in for. Javon Hargrave 2.0. I made a video after the Super Bowl saying that I wish we would get Javon Hargrave back, or he would have stayed a Steeler at the very least, but I think with Benton right here, I think that he's going to give me a lot of Javon Hargrave vibes here. Just an overall physical bruiser up on that defensive line right there. I think this is really good value once again, and I think that he's going to match very well when it comes to the run stopping. So yeah, Keeanu Benton, great pick at 49 right there. Just incredible. And then, with the 80th pick, the 93rd pick in the 2023 NFL Draft because Omar Khan made another trade. This time he traded down with the Carolina Panthers from 80 to 93, which sounds like a what, But with the 93rd pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Darnell Washington, tight end out of Georgia, another Georgia player taken. You can tell when the Steelers are drafting players from the school that just won back-to-back national championships, Omar Khan means business. And this guy, another steal. How this guy was still on the board at 93 just blows my mind. A 6'7", 264-pound tight end. That is just insane on its own right there. The best blocking tight end in the entire draft. The second best tight end overall. And shout out to my guys, Dan and Rob of the Steel Twins. If you haven't, go sub them up. They got a great channel over there. They just hit 10K subs. Shout out to them. These guys are awesome. But they mentioned last night in their reactions that this guy's Matt Spaeth-like for us. And I couldn't agree more. Matt Spaeth was that kind of tight end for us. He was good at blocking, and he's pretty much like a sixth man on the O-line right there with his size, his stuff and ability. Has potential to be a great vertical threat, playing in the slot. And there's just no way that with a guy like Zach Gentry, who we brought back in the offseason, we're just going to patch that up and pair him up with Pat Freiermuth. But now that we get Darnell Washington into our laps at 93, which may very well be the steal of the draft, that is no exaggeration. I think that patches up. I think that is going to be a very good fill-in as far as another weapon for Kenny Pickett goes, because he has another veteran now in Allen Robinson. And honestly, it could kill two birds with one stone with the offensive line, giving Kenny Pickett more protection. Great pick. Amazing pick by Omar Khan. And it's funny because I was so worried that Omar Khan wouldn't be able to scout as well as Kevin Colbert did. I honestly think he's doing a way better job at scouting than Kevin Colbert ever could. So Darnell Washington is a Pittsburgh Steeler. Just incredible. Amazing. And then wrapping it up with day 3 with the 132nd pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Nick Herbig, linebacker out of Wisconsin. I anticipate this guy to be an edge rusher. I expect him to be opposite of TJ Watt. And for good reason, too. Why? Because TJ, who also went to Wisconsin, by the way, TJ last year aided him. Or was it last year or was it a couple weeks? It was sometime in the recent past. I think it was last year, though. TJ went back to Wisconsin. He went back up to Madison. And he aided this guy. And he kind of mentored him a little bit. And now they're teammates. You know, TJ Watt had 22.5 sacks back in 2021. Finally got that Defensive Player of the Year. I think we're going to see mini TJ right here. And on top of that, we get another family member on the team because Nick Herbig is the younger brother of Nate Herbig, who's going to be on our offensive line. So we got another pair of brothers on the team, another family member. Like I said, the Steelers, we are suckers for family members playing on the team. And now, I know he's kind of small. He's 6'2", 240-something pounds. I know that's pretty small for a linebacker. But hey, that's what everyone said about James Harrison when he came aboard with us. And James Harrison turned out to be just fine. I'm not concerned about it. This guy had 36 tackles for losses last year. And putting him alongside with TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, and now Benton, This defensive line, there is no excuse for this defensive line, regardless if TJ's in the equation or not, to not be a top 10 unit in the league. There is absolutely no excuse now. Kind of like with Matt Canada, with the weaponry that he has and the improved O-line that he has, because now it's all about running the football. It's all about, supplementing Najee Harris, who we took in the first round a couple years ago. There's no excuse for Matt Canada to fail with this offense now. Absolutely none. There is no excuse for Terrell Austin to not come up with a good defensive scheme with the defensive line that he has now and the new addition at edge that he has, who's going to be learning from a former defensive player of the year. Absolutely no excuse at all. It's good value as well. We got him at 132. So Nick Herbig coming on over to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then with the 241st pick of the 2023 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Cory Trice Jr., a defensive back out of Purdue. So again, we go corner. And I like this one too. I think he's going to make a really good press corner. I think he's going to specifically be in press coverage. I expect him to be on special teams for the time being, kind of like how James Pierre was. Kind of a steal too. I mean, everyone anticipated him to be a late day 2 pick, early day 3 pick. I think this guy's a steal too. I think he has real good speed and he strikes well. Good stickiness and attacks on, receivers. I think he's going to be really good, as I said, in the special teams and rotations as it is, and this may show the door for Ahkello Witherspoon. Ahkello Witherspoon was a massive disappointment for us, to put it at the very least. He was just looking like Artie Burns Jr. out there. So, yeah, that's another junior that we have, by the way. That's the second junior that we've drafted this weekend. Obviously, Joey Porter, and now Cory Trice Jr. So 2 juniors that we have on the team now. I guess you can say that's another family member. But this may show the door to Ahkello Witherspoon. Trice does have a little bit of an injury history, though. But again, I don't think it's anything to be too concerned about. And the fact that Omar Khan double-dipped at corner right here and took 2 physical corners at that is just an amazing read on who you're drafting right there. It really is. Because if there's one thing that Kevin Colbert was just horrendous with at drafting, it was drafting corners. Kevin Colbert drafted corners the way that the Ravens draft receivers. That is not good. Awful, I'll even say. But Omar Khan, looking like he is taking extra care at drafting these corners. He took 2 of them, and this kid looks like he's going to be a real good depth piece for us down the line if he flourishes in the special teams. I'm excited to see him play. I'm excited to see both these corners play, man. So, Cory Trice Jr. is a Pittsburgh Steeler. And then wrapping up the draft at 251 overall, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Spencer Anderson, offensive tackle out of Maryland. Nobody really had a good report on this guy, myself included. I was just like, when I saw his name up on the screen when I got home from the hospital today, I was just like, oh, cool, we took another offensive tackle. But then I looked at his highlights and I read a little bit of a scout on him. He played pretty much every position on the O-line. He played left tackle, he can play right tackle, he can play guard, he can even play center. So that can kind of solve an answer for Kendrick Green, who's been a massive disappointment up on that, up on the center, And I think his physicality starts with it as well. He had 31 starts. Just a real good swing guy I anticipate him to be. I think we're going to start him on the inside because of his size. And, he just, again, provides physicality, something that we have lacked ever since, Marquise Pouncey retired and ever since we lost David DeCastro and Ramon Foster. pretty much our entire offensive line from like 2016 to 2019. So I think that is going to answer a big question about how do we replace Marquise Pouncey? How do we finally move on from Kendrick Green, who has been a massive disappointment? This guy, Anderson, can play any position on the offensive line. I wouldn't even be objected to start him at center. That's how ready I am to move on from Kendrick Green and especially Dan Moore Jr. and even Chooks. Because Lord knows that those three absolutely need to go when it comes to the offensive line. But you bring in two guys on the O-line from the draft in Anderson and Broderick Jones. You bring in Isaac Seumalo and Nate Herbig. I think that answers questions on the offensive line, and it's all thanks to Omar Khan. Omar Khan, to me, gets an A+ in this draft. If I could give him a grade higher than an A+, I would. But I'm giving him a solid A+ for this draft. By far, the best draft I have seen the Steelers have. I was kind of leaning more towards the A- range because, I wanted us to draft a receiver, to give Kenny Pickett more of an option instead of George Pickens and, Deontay Dropson, as we call him over here now. But seeing how he made up for it with stealing Darnell Washington, stealing the Jets tackle, and just making Belichick look like a fool with trading up at 14. And once again, I can't say it enough, just finding a way to get Benton before the 50th pick, I'm giving him an A+. This might, I've seen a lot of Steeler fans on social media comparing this to the 1974 draft. I mean, don't get me wrong, man. I would love for this to be the 74 draft, who had, that 74 draft had 4 Hall of Famers in that draft class. Don't get me wrong, I would love it if this turned out to be the second incarnation of the 74 draft. A year the Steelers won the Super Bowl, by the way, our first Super Bowl. I would absolutely love that, but, you can only judge until you've seen them play on the field. And the 2023 Steelers draft class, I think, has an insane amount of potential to be the best draft class of the NFL this year. I know Philadelphia, our next-door neighbors out east, they had a real good draft as well. Indianapolis had a real good draft. Buffalo had a real good draft. But if you want to talk about who had the most complete draft, they filled in every single need that they needed, and they made some really good, smart, eye-popping picks, and they got great value picks as well. You can't look any further than the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. And I'm not just saying that just because I'm a fan. I'm saying it based on the scouting reports, based on the analysis, based on the performances, and based on these players' attributes that they bring to the table. This was a phenomenal draft by Omar Khan. You guys have ever heard the phrase, you never have a second chance at a first impression? Well, guess what? My first impression with Omar Khan when it comes to drafting is that this guy is going to find steals, he's going to find hidden gems, and he's going to make a trade or two and be aggressive and slap the table. Omar Khan, to me, gets an A+ for this draft. Let me know what Gins think down below. I cannot wait to see these kids play. This is Steel Sermon. Check it on out for the night. May God be with you all. Go Steelers, baby!